Krillax adjusted his sensory membranes as he boarded the interspecies research vessel Empirical Truth. The Galactic Research Union had assigned him what they called a fascinating opportunity to study human pain responses. Fascinating indeed, more like a waste of his considerable talents. "You've been granted unprecedented access to human specimens," his supervisor had buzzed excitedly. "Their pain responses are unique among sentient species." Krillax had merely vibrated his neck folds in what his species considered a derisive snort. His race, the Vrexians, experienced pain as pure data, a simple notification that something had malfunctioned. No emotional component whatsoever. Perfect evolutionary design. Humans, however, according to the literature, they experienced pain with such dramatic intensity that it disrupted logical thought processes. Yet somehow they'd managed to crawl out of their gravity well and join galactic civilization. Curious. "Dr. Krillax, welcome aboard the Empirical Truth." A uniformed human extended a hand in their bizarre greeting ritual. "Captain Dorian Wells," the human continued. "We're honored to have the Vrexian Medical Academy's leading pain physiologist aboard." Krillax retracted his third eye in what he hoped conveyed professional courtesy. "The honor is mine, though I must confess I find your species' relationship with pain puzzling." The captain laughed. "Well, you've come to the right place. We humans have elevated suffering to an art form." "An art form?" Krillax's skin momentarily shifted to yellow-orange. "Pain is a neurological signal indicating tissue damage. Nothing more." "For your species, perhaps." Captain Wells grinned. "For us, it's a complex experience that we've built entire philosophies around. Not to mention drinking games and competitive sports." Krillax's membranes fluttered. These humans and their tendency toward hyperbole. He'd read reports of humans continuing to function despite injuries that would render any reasonable species unconscious. Exaggerations, surely. Evolutionary impossibilities. "Your quarters are prepared, and you'll begin observations tomorrow," Wells said. "You'll be shadowing Lieutenant Murphy in security. She sees the most interesting injuries." "I look forward to documenting actual human responses, rather than the obvious exaggerations in existing literature," Krillax replied. Captain Wells gave him an odd look. "Exaggerations? Oh, Dr. Krillax, you're in for quite an education." As Krillax settled into his quarters, he reviewed his research parameters. Objective, determine the true nature of human pain responses versus reported experiences. Hypothesis, humans dramatically exaggerate pain tolerance for social standing. Tomorrow, he'd begin collecting actual empirical evidence. And he'd prove once and for all that humans were simply the galaxy's most committed drama queens. "You the alien pain doctor?" Krillax turned to find a human female regarding him with curious eyes. She was compact but solid-looking, with hair cropped close to her skull and multiple scars visible on her exposed skin. "I am Dr. Krillax, xenophysiologist specializing in comparative pain response mechanisms," he corrected. "And you are?" "Lieutenant Jacqueline Murphy. Everyone calls me Jack." Her grip when they shook hands was precisely calibrated firm without risking damage to his more delicate Vrexian appendages. "I'll be your tour guide through the fascinating world of humanoids and boo-boos." "I assure you, Lieutenant, my research is considerably more sophisticated than." "Relax, Doc. That was what we humans call a joke." She tapped her communication device. "Captain says you think we're all big babies about pain?" Krillax's membranes fluttered in embarrassment. "I simply believe the literature contains certain embellishments regarding human pain tolerance." Jack laughed. "Follow me to the mess hall. You'll get plenty of data there." The mess hall turned out to be a communal eating space filled with humans consuming nutrients and exchanging social vocalizations at high volume. Jack directed him to a table where several uniformed humans were engaged in animated conversation. Hey crew, this is Dr. Krillax. He thinks humans are drama queens about pain. Doc, meet the team. A chorus of greetings followed, then a large human male with a facial growth of hair extended his hand. Marcus Rodriguez, Engineering. And we're not dramatic, we just have colorful ways of expressing ourselves. Like that time you got your finger crushed in the airlock mechanism and didn't notice for 10 minutes? Asked a slender human with dark skin. Exactly. Thanks, Prisha. Rodriguez grinned, was finishing critical repairs. Only realized something was wrong when I saw blood on the control panel. Krillax's recording apparatus activated automatically. Impossible. The neural pathways would have immediately. Oh, it hurt like hell once I noticed, Rodriguez admitted. But you'd be surprised what the human brain can ignore when it's focused on something important. I once broke both legs skiing and still finished the course, offered Prisha. Adrenaline is a hell of a drug. Remember when Commander Chen got spaced for 90 seconds during that hull breach last year? Jack added casually, selecting a nutrient item from the table. She's running the science division on Deck 3 now. Krillax's recording appendage twitched. Exposure to vacuum for that duration would cause massive tissue damage. Yes, confirmed a new voice. A human in medical attire had approached the table. I'm Dr. Eliza Okonkwo, Chief Medical Officer. Chen's recovery took months, but humans are surprisingly resilient to short-term vacuum exposure. That contradicts established xenobiology principles, Krillax stated. Humans often do, Dr. Okonkwo replied with a smile. That's what makes us interesting subjects. Jack stood suddenly. Sorry to cut this short, but Captain wants us on the bridge. Apparently we've been assigned to a planetside mission tomorrow, Doc. Hope you're ready for some field research. As they walked to the bridge, Krillax's mind buzzed with confusion. Either these humans were engaging in collective deception, or the established literature had actually understated human pain tolerance. Does your species truly ignore serious injuries to complete tasks? He asked Jack. Sure, when necessary. Pain's just information. Sometimes you need to file it away for later. But pain exists to prevent further damage. It's a protective mechanism. Jack stopped walking and faced him directly. Sometimes protecting others is more important than protecting yourself. That's another thing pain teaches us. Krillax found himself speechless as they entered the bridge, where Captain Wells was waiting with mission details that would soon challenge everything Krillax thought he knew about humans. The shuttle descended through atmosphere thick with purple clouds, buffeting its occupants like toys in a washing machine. Krillax's inner membranes quivered uncomfortably. Atmospheric composition within acceptable parameters, announced the pilot, a human named Chen. Local fauna readings show minimal activity near the landing zone. Captain Wells had selected a small team for this expedition, Jack for security, Dr. Okonkwo for biological sampling, Chen to pilot, and Krillax as the scientific observer. Their mission: collect specimens from the planet's unique flora, which preliminary scans suggested contained compounds useful for advanced medicine. Excited for your first planetside mission with humans, Doc? Jack checked her weapon system with practiced efficiency. Should give you plenty of pain data points if something goes sideways. I would prefer all biological systems remain intact, Krillax replied stiffly. Jack laughed. Where's the fun in that? The shuttle touched down with a jolt on rocky terrain. Out the viewport, Krillax saw an alien landscape of twisted violet vegetation under a greenish sky. Beautiful, but his Rexian instinct screamed danger. Standard protocol, Jack announced as they prepared to disembark. I go first, everyone stays within visual range. All specimens are cleared by Dr. Okonkwo before collection. The air outside carried strange, pungent odors that Krillax's olfactory membranes struggled to process. The team moved efficiently, with Jack constantly scanning their perimeter while Dr. Okonkwo collected samples. Fascinating cellular structure, Okonkwo muttered, examining a fern-like growth. The medicinal applications could be revolutionary. They had ventured perhaps 2 kilometers from the shuttle when Krillax's sensory appendage detected movement in the nearby underbrush. "Lieutenant Murphy," he began, "I believe there is." The creature burst from concealment with terrifying speed. It resembled a cross between an earth crocodile and a centipede, with multiple limbs propelling its armored body directly toward them. "Down," Jack shouted, shoving Krillax aside with one arm while drawing her weapon with the other. The creature's front claws slashed through the air where Krillax had been standing, then raked across Jack's torso as she fired 3 rapid shots into its face. The creature shrieked, its momentum carrying it past them before it crashed into the vegetation. "Everyone okay?" Jack called out, scanning for additional threats. "We appear unharmed," Okonkwo responded, helping Krillax to his feet. "Thanks to your quick action." "Lieutenant, you're injured." Krillax pointed to the 3 parallel gashes across Jack's uniform, where dark liquid was beginning to stain the fabric. Jack glanced down. "Just a scratch. Keep moving where there's one of these things, there's probably more. But you require medical." Later, Jack cut him off, her voice firm. "Mission first. Doc Okonkwo, you got what we need." "Almost. 2 more samples from the ridge ahead." "Then let's move. Fast." Jack winced almost imperceptibly as she turned but continued forward, weapon ready. Krillax scanned her vitals with his portable medical device. The readings showed significant tissue damage and blood loss. According to his training, a Vrexian with comparable injuries would be immobilized by pain signals, yet this human was continuing to function as if merely inconvenienced. As they collected the final samples, Krillax noticed Jack's complexion had paled, and her movements, while still effective, had become more deliberate. Yet she smiled and cracked jokes with Chen about souvenir scars. The journey back to the shuttle proved more harrowing when they encountered 2 more creatures. Jack dispatched them efficiently despite her worsening condition, once putting herself between a creature and Doctor Okonkwo with no hesitation. Only when they were safely aboard the shuttle did Jack finally sit down heavily, her face showing the first real signs of strain. "Now," she said through gritted teeth that somehow still formed a smile, "I think I'll take that medical attention." As Dr. Okonkwo cut away the uniform to reveal the extent of the wounds, Krillax could only stare in astonishment. The gashes were deep, exposing muscle tissue. Yet Jack had functioned effectively for over 40 minutes, protecting the team and completing the mission. "Lieutenant," Krillax said quietly, "how did you maintain operational capacity with such severe tissue damage?" Jack's smile was tight but genuine. "Told you, Doc. Sometimes you just file the pain away for later." She glanced down at her wounds. "Though I think later has definitely arrived." The medical bay of the Empirical Truth hummed with activity as Dr. Okonkwo worked on Jack's injuries. Krillax observed from a respectful distance, recording every detail for his research. 3 lacerations, deepest at 2.7 centimeters, significant muscle damage to the lateral abdominal wall, Dr. Okonkwo narrated for her medical log, administering localized anesthetic and beginning tissue regeneration. Jack lay on the bio, surprisingly alert, despite what Krillax's instruments indicated was substantial blood loss. "So, Doc," Jack called over to him, "getting good data for your humans exaggerate pain thesis?" Krillax approached, his membranes fluctuating with confusion. "I don't understand how you continued functioning. My readings indicate your injury should have triggered incapacitating pain responses." "That's humans for you," Dr. Okonkwo interjected, not looking up from her work. "Their relationship with pain is complicated." "Complicated how?" Dr. Okonkwo gestured to a display showing Jack's neural activity. "See these readings? Her brain is producing massive amounts of endorphins and adrenaline. natural pain suppressants and performance enhancers. Yeah, Jack added, it's like the body's way of saying, we'll deal with this crap later, right now just don't die. Krillax's recording appendage worked furiously. But such a system seems inefficient. Pain exists to prevent further damage. For most species, yes, Dr. Okonkwo agreed. But humans evolved as persistence predators and tribal protectors. Sometimes, survival depended on ignoring pain to complete the hunt or defend the group. Or escape being hunted, Jack added cheerfully, then winced as Okonkwo applied regenerative gel to her wounds. Finally feeling it? Okonkwo asked. The adrenaline's wearing off, Jack admitted. Now it feels like someone's playing the bongos with hot pokers on my side. Krillax moved closer, fascinated. Yet you're smiling while describing extreme discomfort. Humor helps, Jack explained. Making a joke about pain gives you a sense of control over it. Plus, it releases more endorphins. She grinned at the doctor. Hey, Eliza, remember when Rodriguez got his hand crushed and asked if it would affect his dating life? Dr. Okonkwo chuckled, and I told him it wouldn't matter since his personality was the real barrier. They both laughed, while Krillax watched in bewilderment. You joke about severe injuries? Dark humor is a coping mechanism, Dr. Okonkwo explained. Almost universal among human emergency workers, soldiers, and medical professionals. It's like this, Jack said, shifting to get comfortable and grimacing in the process. Pain is going to hurt no matter what. But suffering? That's partly a choice. You can choose to be miserable, or you can find anything to laugh about. Krillax's skin shifted to a contemplative blue-green. This contradicts everything in xenomedicine about pain responses. Pain should not be negotiable. For humans, almost everything is negotiable, Dr. Okonkwo said, applying a sealing agent to Jack's wounds, including their relationship with their own bodies. Jack's comm unit suddenly chirped, and Captain Wells' voice filled the medical bay. Medical emergency on engineering deck. Coolant leak with multiple casualties. Dr. Okonkwo, report immediately. Understood, Okonkwo replied, already gathering emergency supplies. Lieutenant Murphy needs at least 24 hours of. Belay that, Jack interrupted, sitting up despite Okonkwo's protests. If there are multiple casualties, you'll need security to help with evacuation. Absolutely not, Okonkwo insisted. You've lost nearly a liter of blood, and those wounds will reopen with any strenuous activity. Then patch me up quick and dirty. Jack was already swinging her legs off the bio bed. Captain needs all hands. Krillax watched this exchange in astonishment. Lieutenant, Dr. Okonkwo is correct. Your biological system requires recovery time. Jack looked him directly in the eye. Sometimes what we require and what others need from us are different things, Doc. As alarms began blaring throughout the ship, Krillax realized he was about to witness something that would challenge his understanding of pain, duty, and what a sentient being could endure when others were counting on them. The corridor outside engineering was chaos. Emergency containment fields flickered as crew members evacuated the affected areas. The acrid smell of coolant hung in the air, forcing Krillax to partially close his respiratory membranes. Status report, Jack demanded from the first officer she encountered, a young human named Prisha who was helping a limping crewmate. Coolant line ruptured near the quantum drive, Prisha reported. 3 engineers trapped in subsection 7. Automatic safety protocols have sealed the compartments, but the manual override is inside the contaminated area. Jack nodded sharply. Dr. Okonkwo, take care of the injured here. Krillax, stay with me or environmental adaptations might be useful. Krillax followed, noting with scientific detachment how Jack's movements had become more rigid, her breathing pattern altered to minimize abdominal movement. His scanner showed her wounds had held together, but barely. "Lieutenant," he ventured, "your physical condition is exactly why I need you with me," she interrupted. "If I pass out from blood loss or something equally dramatic, you'll need to complete the mission." They reached a sealed bulkhead where Captain Wells was coordinating rescue efforts. "Murphy, I ordered you to remain in medical." The captain looked furious. "With respect, sir, I'm the only one who's memorized the manual override sequences for all engineering subsystems," Jack replied. "Time is critical." Wells hesitated, then nodded reluctantly. 3 crew members are trapped with oxygen levels dropping. The coolant has compromised the environmental systems. "I'll get them out," Jack promised, accepting an environmental suit from a crew member. Krillax noticed her wince as she raised her arms to don the helmet. "Your species is remarkably stubborn," Krillax observed, accepting his own modified suit. Jack's laugh sounded strained through the comm system. "You have no idea." They entered through the emergency airlock, and Krillax immediately understood the severity of the situation. Coolant vapor hung in the air, despite the ventilation attempts, and damage reports flashed on failing consoles. Jack moved with purpose toward a maintenance junction, though Krillax could detect the increasing strain in her movements. His scanner showed her heart rate elevated, blood pressure dropping. "Lieutenant, you're experiencing hypovolemic shock," he warned. "Tell me something I don't know," she muttered, kneeling painfully before an access panel. "Like how we're going to reroute these circuits to override the lockdown." As Jack worked, Krillax monitored both her vitals and the surrounding environment. The trapped engineers could be heard over the comm system, their voices growing weaker as oxygen levels continued to fall. "Almost got it," Jack announced after several tense minutes. Then she froze, her hand hovering over the circuits. "Damn it." "What's wrong?" "The manual override requires constant pressure on 2 widely separated contacts," she explained, voice tight with pain. "But with my current range of motion—" She didn't need to finish. The injury to her side would make it impossible to stretch and hold both positions simultaneously. "I'll assist," Krillax offered immediately. "You don't understand the system." "Then explain it quickly." Jack's face, visible through her helmet visor, showed surprise, then grudging respect. "Hold here and here," she instructed, pointing to 2 contacts. "When I give the word, press down with exactly 3 kilograms of pressure. Too much or too little, and it fails." Krillax positioned himself as instructed. His Rexian physiology, designed for precise scientific manipulation, was perfectly suited for such a task. "Ready now." They pressed simultaneously. The panel sparked, and for a terrible moment nothing happened. Then the emergency lights shifted from red to amber, and the sealed doors began to cycle open. "It worked," Jack exclaimed, then suddenly pitched forward. Krillax caught her before she hit the deck. His scanner showed plummeting vitals. The physical exertion had reopened her wounds. "Lieutenant Murphy requires immediate medical assistance." He called into his comm unit, lowering Jack carefully to the floor. Her eyes fluttered open, focusing on him with difficulty. "The engineers," she whispered. "Get them out first." "Rescue teams are already proceeding," he assured her. "Your mission is complete." To his astonishment, Jack smiled through obvious pain. "See? Told you we're not exaggerating. We're usually underselling it." As medical personnel rushed in, Krillax found himself experiencing something unusual for a Vrexian, a profound emotional response to another being's suffering and courage. His research would need significant revision. Humans didn't exaggerate pain. They transcended it. 1 week later, Krillax found himself once again in the mess hall of the Empirical Truth, though this time with a very different perspective than when he'd first arrived. Jack sat across from him, moving carefully but looking remarkably recovered. The wonders of human medical technology, combined with their species' natural resilience, had accelerated her healing process beyond Krillax's expectations. "So," she said, gesturing to his data pad, "how goes the famous pain study? Still think we're drama queens?" "My findings have undergone significant revision," Krillax admitted. "I have been drafting my report to the Vrexian Medical Academy with a completely new hypothesis." "Let me guess," Jack smirked. "Humans are actually pain-ignoring lunatics who smile while their bodies fall apart." "Not precisely my wording, but the essence is correct," Krillax replied. "What I still don't fully comprehend is the smiling. When experiencing severe tissue damage, you humans often display facial expressions that contradict your physiological state." Jack considered this while sipping her beverage. "It's complicated. Sometimes the smile is for others to keep them from worrying. Sometimes it's for ourselves, a reminder that the pain is temporary but our spirit isn't." "A psychological countermeasure?" "Something like that." She leaned forward slightly. "Pain is lonely, Doc. When you're hurting, you feel isolated in your own private hell. Smiling is a way of reaching out, of saying I'm still here, still me, despite this agony trying to consume me." Krillax's membranes fluttered thoughtfully. "A rebellion against biological inevitability." "Exactly. Humans have been giving the middle finger to biological inevitability since we crawled out of the primordial ooze." Jack grinned. "It's kind of our thing." Captain Wells joined them, nodding approvingly at Jack's recovery. "Dr. Krillax, I understand you've requested an extension of your research posting." "Indeed, Captain. I have barely scratched the surface of understanding human pain responses. There are numerous physiological and psychological variables I must isolate." Wells smiled knowingly. "And it has nothing to do with developing an admiration for our species." Krillax's skin flushed a telling shade of purple. "Scientific objectivity remains my priority." "Of course," Wells replied, clearly unconvinced. "Well, the GRU has approved your request. You'll be with us for another 6 months." After the captain departed, Jack fixed Krillax with a curious look. "You know, you never told me how Vrexians handle pain. Is it really just data to you?" "It was," Krillax admitted. "But I find myself experimenting with alternative responses." "Such as?" "May?" Krillax hesitated, then with great concentration, forced his facial membranes into what he hoped approximated a human smile. Jack burst out laughing. "That is the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. You look like you're about to lay eggs through your eyeballs." "Is it not comforting?" Krillax asked, maintaining the grimace. "Not even slightly." Jack wiped tears from her eyes. "But points for trying." Later in his quarters, Krillax recorded his final observations for the day. "Humans do not exaggerate pain, they contextualize it within a framework of duty, humor, and social connection that transforms individual suffering into shared resilience. Their smiles in the face of agony are not denials of reality, but assertions of something they value even more, but their stubborn determination to remain themselves despite biology's crueler demands." He paused, then added, "Additional research required to determine if Vrexian facial structures can achieve non-threatening smile configuration. Lieutenant Murphy's reaction suggests significant modifications needed." For the first time in his scientific career, Krillax was looking forward to being proven wrong again. These humans, with their pain-defying smiles, had more to teach him than he'd ever imagined possible.